Hello and welcome to the couch right here on ZTN Prime. This is where you get the world's most beautiful game unfiltered. We discuss it unfiltered. We actually do even more. We discuss the local game. Yeah, that's what we do here. And in studio, I've got the couch squad. David Sengu is here. Veronica Gwaze and Thaddeus Manyepo. That's the team. The whole team is here, and today we've got an exciting topic that we want to discuss and discuss through because it's affecting every football fan in Zimbabwe. And yeah, just before I talk about what we want to talk about, just to hear from these guys. It's been a while, hey? You're back on the couch. How are things? I hear there's a team that you're coaching now.
Yeah, things are okay, Howard. And yeah, we're just in our second game, third game coming over the weekend. 1 win, 1 draw. Yeah, so far so good.
Okay, where is this team?
It's based in Kadoma.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Baga Kadoma FC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2 games already.
Yeah,
where are
2
you on the
games
log
already.
standings?
We are on number 5.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Diva. Yeah, he's because a lot of people were asking, hey, you always call him Coach Diva. Where does he coach? So you heard it. He's coaching Baka Kadoma. It's in Division 2, right?
Yeah, Division 2. Yeah.
Division 2. We'll see at the end of the season, can he take the team up to Division 1? And then, because we have seen some fairy tales, a team comes from Division 2 into Division 1 into the Premier League. We are keeping our fingers crossed, and hopefully it's going to come through, and yeah, we see you in the PSL.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, maybe I might be in the PSO with a different team. Maybe I might be there with Baga Kadoma. You know, with football, it's not going to change in the next few months or so. But right now I'm focused on Baga Kadoma. I want them to gain promotion to Division 1.
And may he be reminded that he is carrying the dreams of Kadoma people.
Yes. So stop saying,
are you sure?
Things happen in football. Hey, I might be with them in the PSL or this other team. Tell them straight up, you want to be in the PSL with them.
Yeah, but no chokadi, because the objective, Howard, is to win the Marsh West Division 2 promotion first. Before dreaming of going to the PSL, we have to dream of going to Division 1 first.
So in the same vein, stop dreaming about taking some other team to PSL.
Which are the teams? Which are the teams? I never said.
Simba Bora were promoted from D2 straight to Division 1, straight to
PSL.
No, not just in 3 years. Not
in
just
3 years.
No. Simba Bora is not a new club, Sha.
No.
Simba Bora is not a new club.
I'm talking about the modern Simba Bora, not the defunct Simba Bora of 2008. I'm talking of
but it's the same Simba Bora.
No.
Because in 2008 they were almost promoted.
They were almost promoted.
Right?
It
They were
was
almost
a
promoted.
different team.
No, it wasn't
Simba
a different team.
Stars,
They were
whatever they were
defunct,
called.
No, but the same owner. But the same owner.
Yeah,
But Diva, I'm
are
talking
talking about
the
Simba
modern
Bora.
Simba Bora.
It was modern
not Simba
by then.
Stars. Not
It
Simba
was
Stars.
modern by then.
It's okay. That's not what we're talking about today. Veronica, you're listening to this exchange and you're wondering where is this going. But how has been the PSL this season?
Yeah, I think the season is quite competitive and very unpredictable because look, we are now counting down towards the mid-season. Last season you could tell Kuti, this team is almost outstanding. We should be expecting 1, 2, 3. But now, as of now, maybe we can talk about Caps United, but the rest of the crew is quite unpredictable.
Very unpredictable.
Yes.
Yeah, were you in Bulawayo this past weekend?
Yes.
Did you watch Highlanders and Caps?
Highlanders, Caps. I watched Chicken in Bulawayo Chiefs. I watched the 2 games, and yes, my sports are kurema. My sports are kurema.
Let's just keep it on the unpredictable tip. I know, Taddy, you were there for the love of football. You are all over the place for the love of football. But in terms of the standard that you saw, is it still the same from all the other games that you have watched?
Like the standard on the match between Cape United and Highlanders.
In Highlanders, yeah.
In fact,
how was the atmosphere there?
You know, the atmosphere at Baba Field Stadium is always late. It was electric. Everything went on quite well.
I think it was pegged to the rafters.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it was pegged. It was pegged.
All right. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. Our focus today is on the senior men's national team, the Warriors. And yeah, we are zooming in on the coaching side. So many coaching changes, you know, the chopping and changing. Yes, you hear different phrases. This one has resigned. This one has done this. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's the chopping and changing of coaches. I think in less than what? Since we got readmitted into world football, we had Michael Nees. Michael Nees left. We had Marian Marinica. And now we've got Caetano Tembo.
Okay, since
we
we
started
were
with
readmitted,
Brito. Oh, yeah.
we started with the Brito.
Brito.
Bautema Brito.
Yes.
Then
With
Norman.
Jairus Tapera.
But we had Brito, Norman, Jairus.
No, not Norman. Just
Yes.
5.
Norman, we had him.
When?
Yeah? When we went to Malawi.
Yeah, so
Yes,
it was Norman.
yes.
It was Norman
Yes.
first, then Brito.
Brito. So Norman, Brito, Jairus, Nice.
Loga Rusic.
Not Loga.
Loga was before.
Super Mario, of course.
Yes, Super Mario.
And now Caetano. So
Caetano
6.
Tembo. Six coaches.
In a
how
space of
many
3 years.
In a space of 3 years. So that's what we're discussing here. The chopping and changing. What's really going on with all these changes that are happening in our football, especially with the pinnacle. This is the team. When we talk about Zimbabwe football, we are talking about the Warriors. Are you worried about the chopping and changing of coaches? What is the problem with the Warriors? Why are we not settling on one man? We have seen other teams, Senegal, you know, we have seen them staying for long, more than 7 years with just one coach. There is continuity. You know what's really happening. Can we say the same thing about our own Warriors? Because a couple of days ago, we had Super Mario resign. I was surprised because just on Sunday, I was at Rufaro. Super Mario was there, and actually had a joke with him. You know, we shared a joke because he had his notebook and he was busy writing notes, and I presumed he was preparing for, you know, the Unity Cup in the UK, where Zimbabwe is going to be, you know, part of the
I
teams
also
that are
heard
there.
that he asked whether Stanley Billiard, who comes from Malawi, was Zimbabwean.
No, we talked about that. We talked about that. He was actually asking, is he related to Kama Billiard? So I saw a man who was, you know, serious about what he was doing. Then boom, the following day, the coach has resigned. And I was asking myself, what is going on with Super Mario? So yeah, so this is what we want to talk about. Was he resigned or he resigned? Because I know you guys, you were writing stories. We were all writing stories about, I know you've got a good relationship, especially you, Thaddeus, you had a good relationship with him. Was there any hint that he was going to leave?
Ash, I was absolutely shocked when I heard the news. I tried to call him. He dropped my call. It is only yesterday that he tried to reach out to me, and then he said, I will look for you when I'm leaving the country. He said nothing else.
So he's still around.
He's still around. He's still in Zimbabwe.
Obviously, there's a
And then,
non-disclosure
and of course,
clause.
they don't have to disclose the reasons because they signed that non-disclosure contract. So you won't say anything to do with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vera, I don't know. What's this non-disclosure business? Because you look at football the world over. Let me start from my transfers. There's Fabrizio Romano from I think.
He's supposed to be Italian, isn't he?
You know, he's Italian. I'm trying to calculate the years. My math is very poor. But anyway, he's been in this business for so long. And when it's transfer business, he will lay into this player going to this team for so much. But when you come to this part of the world, it's different. You don't hear any figures. You don't even hear about these transfers. You know, we've got a lot of speculation. But teams are not forthcoming when it comes to that. Not only details, the monetary details, but even just the movement. But when the season starts, you now see, oh, Thaddeus is now playing for Baka Kadoma. David has gone to Baka Kadoma, but they don't want to talk about
But
these
that's in
things.
every day,
You see, now
I told you.
it also now goes on to the coaching changes and all that. You hear Mario has come. You don't even know what kind of a contract he's on. You just hear he signed a 3-year contract. If you want to get into the details of the contract, you are told something else. What is it that makes us so secretive? We don't want to release information. What is it about us?
Yeah, sometimes I think that's why there's always been that speculation. Most of these things, kunema underhand deals, because when you are not transparent like that, people would then begin to speculate. Selection criteria, yema coaches edu muno, how we hire and how we even settle for candidate A over candidate B. It has never been made public. So that's why we continue to have a lot of issues popping up when it comes to Ziffa business, because it has never been that transparent. And now it cascades down to my PSL tips, edu. The players themselves, they'll vanengari sewn into secrecies, they can never disclose, even their salaries, they don't disclose. So I think that's why even our game is never really taken that serious, because they don't understand what it is.
There's a big non-disclosure on our football.
But kana vadaita mastrike vanotaura one. Saka chinoratidza kuti awadi vanganiko information andinotozosara yotosvika anditi kwatiri kunoko and club vasi kutoziya kuti chii chiri kuitika, but within my circles ema friends anditi vanenge vachitoziya every detail rese. That's why unoti vanomhanya kunonyora kusocial media my friends.
Plus I think isusu business redu rakawanda rine kakuvhundutsirana mukati izvozvo, because kana uchindisainisa non-disclosure agreement, it shows kuti pane kanenge kakusabudirana pachena pezvimwe zvinhu zvamusiri kutoda kutoti the public izive, zvamuda kuti ndirambe ndakakepa secret.
And I thought we have got an expert munomu akatombotamba bhora racho, akatambira caps, akatambira triangle, akatambira motection, achitotransfer asingatotauri futi.
I was coming to him. No, David, don't stop saying no. We need to understand, because you have gone through the process. We need to understand what is the problem in Zimbabwe football. Iwewe pawaitamba bhora, waiziva iwewe kuti ana Didier Drogba vari kutambira so much. Waiziva iwewe Frank Lampard ari kutambira so much. Kwa iwewe sei tatisingazivi kuti waitambira. Even when we ask you today, you don't want to say.
Howard, the thing is, my figures edu isusu aichinja. Unoona, that time ataitamba isusu. Because ukatambira 17,000 nasi. And after 2-3 weeks, my figures atochinja. And inflation yedu machinjira yaita. Zvasiyana nemaziyana.
Hold on. Pawakabva ku Aces uchenda ku Ngirigini, uchenda ku Caps. Wakaenda nemari.
Ndandiri free agent.
Okay.
Pawakabva
ku Caps. Uchienda
ku England.
Ku aiwa.
Kundetambira mari.
Google you didn't transfer.
No.
Ndokutaura my figures.
Wait. Pawakaenda ku Triangle. Waitambira wakaenda nemari.
Ku Triangle ndandiri free agent futi.
Pawakaenda ku Gunners.
Ndandiri free agent futi. Motection ndandiri free agent. Ndatobva ku Aces.
All right.
Contract yangu ku Aces yanga
ungori captain we Caps iwe waitambira mari.
Ndakasvika ndichitambira 17,000 Zimbabwean dollars. Anditi ndikakudza kuti pasina 3-4 months ndandatoku 55 neinflation.
All right.
Nekukwira kwayayi.
Let's benchmark it nema US dollars. How much was that?
To be honest, ndiri kunyepa word because anditombozivi kuti mari
maybe
at that time.
Maybe other non-monetary things that he was getting from Caps United 2004. Because kakune ma lines, I think in it one in the like chichimwe futi.
Achimwe chatinongoziva, which was
no, my winning bonuses.
Wakatengerwa motikari na Farai Jeri.
That was between me and Farai. Zviya Howard. That was between me and
It
Farai.
wasn't
Gore richitanga
part of
2004.
my provisions, a contract.
No, zvanga sine nechekuita neCaps. Because Farai was not even part of Caps United.
He was just a supporter.
And he was just someone wandaiwirana naye inini. And he said, Diva, mukatora league. And ndokutengera motikari. And the only person aiziya izvozvo ndi Ashley Rambane Pasi 3-2. Vaizoti ndozichaitika by end of season. Zvanga sine nechekuita neCaps.
Okay, Dave, let's not deviate. The question was this secrecy thing. Mimi, did you ever sign non-disclosure?
No. Never. Macloses edu isusu chaitaura ndechekuti handifaniri kuudza anditi mumwe wangu kuti nini ndasaina mari yakati andinoona because it's between me and the club.
Non-disclosure.
Aiwa, inzwa point andikuedza kutaura. Non-disclosure kazhinji kacho it's for the public and it's not within the team. Winning bonus ndoya ndokwanisa kuudza Howard kuti Howard winning bonus and 200. Iyo bata azvishwanda nzo 200.
Ukanwanza saudi ashile ramba nepasi wewe ubva wodza inini indobva ndazvitaura kana newspaper ashile ramba nepasi wanomudzera.
Ndosaka ndikuti even Ashley chaye angasikatoziye kuti ndinotambira mari.
And now it brings us back kunyaya tachitaura yaya kuti unotoona kuti zviri doji.
No, it's not dodgy. It's not dodgy. Wana, pauno negotiate contract. Iwe uno negotiate contract yako wega. You understand? Because nini ndikakuya ndikakudza kuti vero nda negotiate contract yangu inini ndikufana kupuwa 20,000 a month. And it you vote ndikupuwa 2,000 saka nchada. You understand?
Okay. Let's move on because I'm seeing the issue of the non-disclosure has always been there.
Yeah.
Because I remember I gave you an example with what happens in Europe. Everyone goes in, they negotiate a different contract. But
Exactly.
we hear
But
Didier
still the
Drogba
figures
is on
also
300,000 pounds a week.
But you know
Michael Essien is on 80 pounds a week. And he's complaining, but we know the figures. But anyway, let's get back
But it's
to...
only here in Zimbabwe, Howard.
It's all right. Let's get back. That's why we are also focusing on Zimbabwe in terms of chopping and changing. Why don't we see longevity in terms of the contracts? Yes, we hear Michael Nisi has signed this. But yes, the coaching job is results oriented. But for us, it's more like we are just jumping through hoops. We have this coach, it doesn't work. We get the next coach, it doesn't work. We get the next coach, it doesn't work. Why we are talking about this? It's because of what happened to Mario. Nobody is talking. Zifa did not explain why he left. They just said personal reasons.
But
We've got a relationship with Super Mario. He's trying to talk to him. I'm trying to talk to him. He was told, no, I'll talk to you when I have left the country. What is going on? In fact, let's go back, Vero. Over the weekend, there's the EGM, the Zifa EGM. One of the hottest issues that was there was the issue of Marshall Mnetsi. Marshall Mnetsi, what is the issue? And Magwizi came in trying to clarify the position. And from the stories that we had heard before, there was a bit of friction between Marshall and Zifa, maybe slash the coach. So now we've got an upcoming tournament in the UK, the Unity Cup, where there is India, there is Jamaica, there is Nigeria and Zimbabwe. And the coach is gone. We've got such an important assignment. What's going on? Are you smelling anything here?
To be honest with you, I think when I heard about this resignation, I was actually left with a lot of questions. Some of the questions that I felt maybe Zifa, at some point, they need to sit down and perhaps address maybe the media just to explain what is it that took place behind the scenes. Because you can't have a coach at the stadium today, he's busy taking notes, that he's preparing for the future. He's preparing for the coming tournament. He's scouting talent. And then the next morning, you hear a different story. So if you look even around us, you notice Kuti, we've got our neighbors, South Africa, who are doing very well. But you look at issue of continuity. For how long have they been with Hugo Broos? Yes, results are not coming. But I think the fact that they gave him that leeway, he was able to build whatever it is that he wanted to achieve. But it's also to kuti tapamuno contract 1 year. Already, takaitaka kugununguna ngekuti 1 year is a very short time. What's going to happen after 1 year? And then for that time, tambufara kuti awe any fast and very fast philosophy yake. It looks like we are going somewhere. Of course, yes, in our games, but now goals are starting to come. And we have seen my youngsters Arkuta as if they are fitting very well into his philosophy. We were happy kuti at least now we have a starting ground tichenda kumberi. And we expected kuti by the time the year, maybe they are going to give him another contract because aninga atanga project yake. But just 5 months down the line, this is what happens. For me, to be honest, it's very worrying. The trend is very worrying. Having 6 coaches since our readmission into international football, I think Zvikaramba Zvakadaro, we are just not going anywhere. We are going to continue going in circles. I'm not sure kuti is Kaitano Tembo is he going to continue with that fast and very fast philosophy yanga katanga since angari assistant wa Super Mario, or he's going to bring a whole different philosophy altogether. Now my players are even watanga kudzidza zvinyowani futi.
Let me jump to Thaddeus. Vero has taken us back again to the time that we got readmitted back into the world football family. I don't want to talk about Norman Mapeza because he was there in an interim basis. But we thought the coming in of Baltimore Brito was the start of something. Right. From Baltimore Brito up until we got to Super Mario. What do you think has been the problem? Because Baltimore Brito, when you look at results, I don't think they were that bad. But when you look at the other guys that then came, yes, Jairus Tapera, results didn't really come the way we had hoped. You saw Michael Nees, yes, again, results didn't really come the way we had hoped. He had his own issues, but we qualified for AFCON. Super Mario took us to AFCON, and it was...
Performance-wise, it was okay.
Yes,
was
we
okay.
went to the Four Nations tournament in Botswana. We thought this was a launchpad now to something better. What is the problem? That we chop and change willy-nilly.
I think there's a lack of transparency between the leaders or the administration and this technical staff, because munangango karuka kungoti akuenda kana kuti akutodzingwa sezvakaitwa Brito pekutanga, even maappointment akaitwa Jairus, zvese zvazvine chekuita nekuti administration haisi kuda Brito, yakungoda kungomubvisa even aita 2 draws against Rwanda and Nigeria. So I think it's to do with kakusatrustana kari pakati pe-administration ne-technical staff kana kuti kakusanyatsobudirana pachena. That's what I think, because as it stands, it's so queer and worrying. Yeah.
You've been in this football business, you know, inside, because you were a player. Now you're a coach. What is the problem? Because as players, I know you talk about these things. And now as coaches, you're also talking about these things.
Yeah, I also feel good, like what I said, kuti papa sina kubudirana pachena. One, in terms of everything between the technical and the administration, because when you call the players, you always want your best players kunge vari available, and even akakwara, you want to see him kunge aripo, and but tukuti susu kana coach apiwa basa, and let him do his job, don't interfere, and but my interference agara aripo zvao icho ndo chokwadi awadi. When you are in coaching industry, you find kuti zvirimo, chero ukati wewe handidi kuti ndiva interfere pabasa rangu randoita, they will always be there, but the decisions lies with you, because at the end of the day my results ndionobvunzwa as a coach. One. So for Mario, I still feel kuti there are certain decisions dzanga asingaite iye dzaitoitwa nevamwe vanhu, but ended up dzake, because ndiye coach with team. Saka when you call the players, you always want to kunzwisisa kuti why is so and so part of the team, why is so and so not part of the team. If there are any injuries, you would want to know from the doctors very responsible for the national teams.
Okay. So that's where we want to pick it up from, but on a different tip, because you introduced us to something else. You know, when a coach comes, they want to explain why they've called Thaddeus instead of David.
Yes.
But that has not been happening. In fact, we'll start from Michael Nees. When he got the job, I thought the first thing that was going to happen was have a press conference. Zifa there, Michael Nees there. This is the coach, and this is the criteria that got us this coach. Vana Vero, Vana Tadi, they sit there, they interrogate, and they get answers. Anyway, we'll come back. Let's go for a quick breather, and when we come back, this is where we're going to pick it up from.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
It is the culture right here on ZTN Prime, the biggest football show anywhere in the country right now, and it's happening right here on ZTN Prime. In studio, I've got David Sengu, Veronica Gwaze, and Tadi, and my name is Howard. We are discussing the chopping and changing of coaches that we have seen with the Warriors since we got readmitted into the back into world football family. We have had about 5 different coaches in 3 years. Yeah, and you look at other teams. South Africa, just across the Limpopo, in those 3 years, just one man. So what are we saying about our football? What is the problem? So before we went for the breather, I'm just going to jump to Veronica. You have covered the football, I think, for a couple of years now. And when a coach comes, you as the media, you are called for a press conference. The coach is there. The powers that be, in this case, the association, the Zimbabwe Football Association, are there, and they are saying this is the man that we got. But from the time because I want to focus on the current ZIFA administration, I don't want to go back to Lincoln Mutasa and them, because they are not in charge right now. Let's start from Magwizi and Company. They got us Michael Nees. Michael Nees, was it Magwizi? No. Magwizi.
Got us Marinika.
Yeah, they got us Marinika.
Yeah.
And I thought, the world over, the process is the same. This is the man that we got for the job. And this is how we got to him. We had 7 candidates, but we settled for him because of A, B, C, D. Were you guys called for a press conference where you had to ask questions?
I think with Super Mario, he came at a time when the team was going for, was it my friendly games?
Yes, friendly games in Qatar.
Yeah, and we never got that opportunity. Takasongomonera ikoko kwa kanosangana ne team.
But he didn't just rock up because we had friendly games. We had a coach and he was fired.
Yes.
And we heard that we now have a coach.
Well, I think you said you want to focus on the Magwizi era,
Yes.
but I want to take you back to the normalization committee.
Okay.
During the time Yakawa Michael Nis, this is the same scenario that happened as well. Michael Nis came and there was just total silence. But because Pakazoitka incident, they wanted to announce the COSAFA squad. Was it the COSAFA squad?
The COSAFA squad.
Yes. Yeah. They then took that time, to announce a team. Then, no, it wasn't the COSAFA.
Chan.
Yeah.
Okay, first assignment, Michael Nis was AFCON qualifiers in Uganda.
Yes.
Against Kenya and Cameroon.
So that moment, announced that squad. They then said, we are also going to coach asangane the media. And I remember very well asking him, Kuti, we are being introduced to you today, and we are also they are also unveiling the squad that's going to do duty. Considering the time that you came, did you have time my players so that you can be able to select, or for this specific assignment, since it's your first time, you are going to make do with what you were given? And he said no. Since the time I submitted my application for the Zimbabwean job, I've been following these players, so I know them. But to be honest with you, for me, even up to this date, I still feel like Panamaiko Nis Takatambiswa a delayed match. Because aungoti wangoisa sivina, so akutotanga kufollow teams really so religious. And yet he was claiming that he had not only applied for the Zimbabwean job, so was he also following the other nations? You see? So I think this issue of recruitment in coaches, it has always been the norm, Kuzifa. They never explain anything. They can just tell you, Kuti, Paita 80 candidates who submitted their applications. But how they are going to go down from the 80 to the 1 that eventually gets the job. They've never explained that. So I'm not so sure, Kuti, is it a case of us feeling, Kuti, we are entitled to the explanation, or ordinarily they are not even supposed to be explaining to us?
And then I think pane another issue, backroom stuff. Coach Diva, and I think my coach aya tama point they should be allowed to bring their own backroom stuff, because kana vasina backroom stuff taita vakuimposer ripantanga kuita gossiping and the like. Then coach anenge ari professional, suppose they are professional, these guys are na Super Mario, anotanga kufeel that no, maybe wada kundisabotage just because ndakamwana aripo pamwe basa rake ndiri kundiongorora kuti ndikuita sei, and then all of a sudden unogonozona munhu akutongoti ndaita sei ndaresign, because haasi kuziva kuti vanhu vari kushanda navo vanhu vakaita sei, because angovaona varipo. Because Michael Nis akangosikopiwa vanhu, Brito akangopiwa futichi vanhu, ko tikambuva alawa kuti vambotora vana Hugo Bruce no backroom staff yavo.
But assistant coach wa Hugo Bruce ndi Herman Makelele, who was appointed by SAFA, and but ukatasa in terms of kunana goalkeepers coach, dietitian, sometimes my head coach ndo
so you see,
even strength and conditioning coach, because you get to understand what is needed by the head coach. You might not bring an assistant coach, but you can bring a strength and conditioning na goalkeepers coach, because strength and conditioning award zvauri kuda kuti inini ma players
exactly
turning in terms of tempo yatotamba nayo, you know very well. Goalkeepers coach, that's the most critical position per club. You need your own, because whatever happens, ndokunoperera bora.
Yakaona vese varipo panana hwana
ndokunoperera bora.
So I hear you guys, but I want to jump now to the time that Super Mario came. Yes, you said he met up with the team when they were on their way to Qatar to play against Algeria and Qatar. But they came back. But every time, there was an assignment. I think there was only one time when he announced that bloated squad that then ballooned to 50-something players in
55.
All. Yeah. But there was no point that Super Mario would announce a team in front of the media and explain his decisions, why I have done this. Even the squad that finally went to AFCON, there was not that interface with the media. Him explaining why he dropped this, why he picked that player. But we have seen it the world over. It's the norm. Why is that happening like that here, and we are not questioning it?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's wrong. Because a coach needs to justify the exclusion of certain players and the inclusion of certain players. Panotozongoita vamwe vanhu vanotozoita zvezvo kuti vakutongofonera coach kuti explain it ko why wasiya ningi, why watora ningi, but otherwise interrogation iyoyo inofanira kunge ichiitika painterface, hainyatouya nemawira inofanira kunge ichinyatsokuita chacho kana papafoni.
Why was Michael Nis fired?
Michael Nis, did they explain anything? I think they didn't explain anything. We just heard that Michael Nis was being dropped, but tidoshanisa discretion yedu ndekuti my results are Michael Nis, they were far below our level as Zimbabwe.
Do you know what I want? Issue iripo panyema press conference here is for the whole country to know exactly within the setup border. As for Zifa, I think it's because the whole nation wants to know. If a team like ZPC cannot do press conference, it's okay. But for our national team, it's not okay. Because we want to know. Kutipatakanda kwa AFCON, and what happened? And Mario was supposed to come back from AFCON, Oshika Kunoko, and nema players against yana captain wake. Wait a press conference, and Zifa, Michael Nis, and the captain wait a press conference, and the press vese vanenge varipo vobvunza zvavada kubvunza vachipindurwa. That's normal, because the whole country haina chairi kuziya about what happened ku AFCON. Why was Tawanda Masanise not playing first 2 games? Why didn't he play when he was our best player? And Tawanda Chirewa the same. And why wasn't Marshall Munezi? not included
Plus.
taitozoita zvekufungira kuti because Wolves iri kuti akakwara handiti, but with proper explanation award the whole country wouldn't debate every time when we want to play. Handiti, why is Andy left the camp achidzokera kupi achidzokera ku-UK?
Personal reasons.
Exactly, it's just being said personal reasons.
Plus, I think these guys are selective on what they want to give out to the public, the information that they want to give out. So, ndichimbodzokera pane zvataura naTedius, he was saying, using his own discretion, Michael Nis was said to have delivered results are way below the standard of Zimbabwe. So, my first question is Zimbabwe standard redu nderipi?
Yeah, we are better than Lesotho. We can't be beaten by Lesotho twice. That's our standard. We are
But
better than Lesotho any day,
you are
anytime,
because you are a journalist and
day and
you
night.
research into
Yeah.
all those stuff, all that stuff. But if an ordinary fan ari kuzviti nindodama warriors and stuff, and these are some of the informations dzekuti akazongonzwawo zvichitaurwa zvichiexplainwa nezifa yacho anoita kuzvinzwisisa. And then secondly, I remember very well when the Mighty Warriors were preparing for COSAFA, Zifa president came and said, as for this COSAFA, we are not going to look much into my results. What we want to do as Zimbabwe is we want to start building a team that's going to qualify for the World Cup in 4 years and for the WAFCON in 3 years. And it gave a clear picture to everyone. Kuti, yes, of course, results COSAFA, we are going to look at them because we are building something. Toda kungonotarisa kuti tione kuti team yatinayo, how can we gauge it and which areas need to be worked on. But because he had made it clear kuti we are not looking at winning the COSAFA, tikuda kutotarisa WAFCON and the World Cup. Why does not the same happen kana kuri kuma Warriors? Remember, we had a conversation na Michael Nis, and he said when he was hired into office, he was never given a target. When Super Mario came, what was the target that he was given? Of course, yes, AFCON igaroziva, this was the 6th time tichenda ku AFCON. And for us to be talking about making it to the 2nd round of AFCON, it's now general knowledge. But here, anima short-term targets, nima long-term targets, anga akapiwa as a coach. Because when you come, even to club level, you are given a certain target.
So I'm going to throw this question to you guys. I know I'm also involved, but I'm going to throw this. When did Super Mario resign?
On Monday.
Obviously Monday.
On Monday. Today is
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Right. Does the nation know why Super Mario resigned?
Obviously, no one knows. Because
Even the media
issued
doesn't know.
a statement that he had resigned due to personal reasons.
What nyaya yekunzi personal reasons kuda kuti nyaya yacho isarambe ichienda kumberi anona because paifanira kutoitwa press conference kapa kuti we are appointing Kaitano Tembo and on interim basis, but there are questions to be answered and there are questions to be asked.
Plus, kana tiri kuti personal reasons. For a coach anga ari ground on Sunday, ari busy ari kugadzira team yake ari kuteka notes. Then all of a sudden on Monday paita personal reasons. Does it mean kuti these personal issues arose overnight from Sunday to Monday?
Dai anga akafirwa ka taiudzwa kunzi ari kuenda kunochema mukadzi wake odzoka kubasa oro atoti handa akutoita se oro mukadzi wake kana anga achirwara oro mwana wake anga achirwara, that way you can resign on personal reasons and voexplaina kuti paita urwere hwamai vake zvazodai. We have seen even in Europe, for example, Luis Enrique, he was supposed to go to the World Cup and I think mwana wake ere and pakaita challenge neye kuti mwana wake, then he resigned akatoti no handisi kutoenda World Cup. That way, because I got to explain. But isusuka, we're taking things is normal.
But I'm challenging you also as the coach leader, right? Maybe to call someone, a representative from Zifa, whether it is the Zifa president, the Zifa CEO, maybe to interrogate him on why Michael Nis was fired, on why Super Mario resigned. Maybe tinogona kutaura zvakawanda tikaudzana zvisiri izvo ivo vanhu vacho vari willing to give out more kana
I'm sure the producer is listening because some of these things we really want to hear from the horse's mouth that this is what's going on. We are doing this because of this. So I'm sure the producers are listening, and the next time we sit here, we'll have Nobile Magwizi sitting there trying to explain what's going on with our football. But before we just go for a breather, I want to throw this again to you guys. Let's go back to the EGM over the weekend. Right. One of the issues that was discussed there was the issue of Marshall Manetsi. What did Magwizi say?
Okay, it was not one of Zifa that was held last Friday. It was actually a question that was thrown to Magwizi by one of the journalists. And then Magwizi said everyone is open to come and play for Zimbabwe as long as they are talented and disciplined.
What does that mean?
It means if you are talented and disciplined, you will come and play for the country.
No, but
So okay.
That's what he said.
So the issue was really on Marshall Munetsi. And the answer that was given was a blanket answer.
Yes.
If you are talented and disciplined, you are welcome to come. Marshall Munetsi has not come for the past 6 months. Is he all of a sudden not talented? This is for you. Not talented? Is he all of a sudden not disciplined? Because remember, this guy was the vice captain. I don't know if he's still the vice captain, but when he left, he was the vice captain.
He was the vice captain.
All of a
He's no
sudden,
longer
is
the
he
vice
not
captain.
talented?
Yeah,
Is he not disciplined?
I think the that response for someone who reads between the lines, you would then conclude that it's either Marshall Munetsi has all of a sudden become not talented, or it's the other reason, the discipline reason.
no, the issue is not about talent. The issue is about discipline.
Yeah. Because we all know that Marshall Munetsi is
for
one of
someone
the
who
most
reads between
talented
the
guys
lines,
to ever come
those
from
two
this
options
country.
will give you the answer.
Yeah,
we
but
can never
option
say
has- but option has
we
to
can
vary.
never say Munetsi is all of a sudden not talented, and yet he is doing so well for his club.
No, Vero. Issue
Saka,
talent manje
shoti
ipapo.
siyatine one option.
No, issue talent manje ipapo unoziva kuti haichatopindi manje. Pakupinda issue
It
discipline.
leaves us with one option.
And one issue discipline, because we all know how talented he is achitamba ku club kwake. And he has always been up there as our best player. And before knowledge.
So I'm going somewhere.
Before-
Yeah?
Wait.
Before knowledge.
Wait,
after
wait.
knowledge.
Okay,
Wait,
after
I'm
knowledge,
going
yeah.
somewhere with this. So boom, a day after, the coach resigns.
2 days after.
2 days after, the coach resigns.
Yeah, but I think panga pagara paine fight kudara.
Between who and who?
Ipapa panga pagara paine fight between the Zifa executive and the coach in terms of nyaya yamashi yoyi. And because nyaya yamashi award aingotoperera ikoko. Because inotoperera futi kupi kuma coaches. Because coach pamwana kachimoti ona pressure ndikuramba ndichipiwa nemafans. Avachiti ayewa azviite. Coach obvati but kuti results angu aite. I need this guy muteam mangu. Because there is a lot of talk ekunzi look at our midfield. Haisi kunyatsotamba zvakanaka because captain avasichi avapo. Andunon.
The captain is Marvelous Nakamba.
No, that time Mashi was the captain before
No,
Marvelous.
Marvelous
And
Nakamba was always the captain. Marshall Munetsi never
Okay,
captained
so,
this
it's
side.
okay, Dad.
Let's
It's
not
okay.
stray.
Yeah.
Like we said, we are going to bring Zifa here, keeping tabs on the former coach. Maybe when he finally leaves Zimbabwe, he's going to open up.
Maybe,
And maybe the NDA that he signed is just for the Zimbabwe jurisdiction. So maybe
Then our board has-
we'll get to hear more on what really transpired. But look, you see, there are a lot of questions.
Yeah, of course.
You are in this business of giving information to people. You don't have the information.
Yes.
It becomes very difficult. This is a topical issue. People have been talking about it since Monday. And people want answers, and there is no one who's giving answers. Anyway, when we come back, we zero in on the interim coach, Kaitano Tembo, and we speculate again on how long he's going to be in charge. We also talk about the return of Tekshua Chiragwi. Remember, he had temporarily left as an assistant coach after his debacle at Rufaro Stadium with one of his players then at Ngezi. Now he's again with the same player at Caps United. So we'll talk more about that. Stay with us right here on the couch.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J.
Put your seatbelt on.
You're watching The Couch right here on ZTN Prime. And yeah, we are discussing the issue of coaching at the highest level in Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwe senior men's football team, the Warriors, chopping and changing. It's been happening since we got readmitted into world football. It's been 3 years now and we've gone through 5 coaches. Yeah, what is the problem with Zimbabwe? Are we going to see some continuity where we have one coach who's going to stay maybe for 7 years, taking charge of the team? Are we ever going to see that with Zimbabwe? So there is an upcoming tournament in the UK. It's called the Unity Cup. Zimbabwe will be joining Nigeria, Jamaica, and India at that tournament. And we know Super Mario was busy planning for that. He was actually at Rufaro Stadium. I had a conversation with him about that. He was asking me about certain players that he saw there. So I thought he was really looking ahead to that tournament. But a day later, the man resigned. And there are a lot of questions hanging around that. What really transpired? But here we are. Kaitano Tembo is now in charge of the team on an interim basis. Tekshua Chiragwi comes in as an assistant. What kind of environment is he coming into? Yes, he was part of the environment already, but now he's the head coach. What are we expecting to see from him?
I think Kaitano Tembo's immediate task will be to lead Zimbabwe in the Unit Cup in the UK. So I think apana zvakawanda zvachakwanisa kuwedzera. Even pamaplayers angatodaidzwa iwayo achazoannounce because maplayers akatodaidzwa and maplayers ese akatotora mavisa vanofana kunga achitora mavisa changosara kuannounce kwesquad. So I don't think kuti pane anything chachanyanya kuchinja kunze kwekuti kana kuri kuti achadaidza Marshall because Marshall doesn't need a UK visa from France, maybe kana achizomudaidza. But besides that hapana zvimwe zvinhu zvakawanda zvachambokwanisa kuita and achangoshanda nemashandiro anga achingoita na Super Mario. And then the coming in of Tekshua Chiragwi also adds to the continuity that Zifa has been speaking about. And I think so.
Is Kaitano, do you think, in your own opinion, because we are looking for a head coach, the search has already begun. Given the job on an interim basis, maybe he does well. Does he have the gravitas to take the job on a permanent basis?
Why should we doubt our own? Kaitano Tembo has proven that he can be a good coach. He once coached at SuperSport in the South African top flight and is now coaching in the lower ranks at Orlando Pirates.
We went for Super Mario. He was there. He was an assistant. We overlooked him and we went for Super Mario.
But this is what is on the ground right now. He's being trialed. So kana pass anongopinda
and maybe bring
no legends edu achati igorachita nezvaokai iwo wana Kaitano Tembo. 3-4 years ago vanaitomboti komadi kuti Kaitano Tembo mazuva ari ku SuperSport. So this is his chance. He has to prove it.
And maybe bringing him in as an assistant to Super Mario, it was a way of helping him acclimatize vachiziya kuti their vision is to have him as the head coach eventually. You never know. Since tisinga explain it.
But mukona zvinoitika kubhora manje. Kubhora kuri fun Howard. One thing. When someone is on interim basis, sometimes he does well. And it up until because anenge chinyatsoziya.
Make okariki.
And it anenge chinyatsoziya. Not him only vakawanda. Vakatombozviita kuti unopiwa 2-3 games on interim, then you do well. Then when it's a marathon, that's when you start kuita zvinhu zvisiri. But if it's Kaitano, who we want, we have to start preparing him now and to be a national team coach. Because remember kune mumwe nokuti anogona kuti no, I'm just doing it because ndoda basa. Then motadza kumuita muendese kana kuma attachments kwacho paanenge asiri pa green paper asina assignment muendese kuma attachments and because akangogara asina zvaari kuita chero ari national team coach awati hapana there's nothing chinobuda ipapo hapana chinobuda saka he needs kuramba achipractice. Saka kupractice kwacho let's send them kuma best clubs acho atinofunga kuti he can go there and improve our national team.
Tadi, what would you want to see with the national team. We are speaking about the Warriors. In 3 years, we've gone through 5 coaches. What would you want to see?
Yeah, I would like to see from this moment, I think continuity. Though yakanyanya kukosha, because Mario was speaking about his vision of qualifying the national team to the World Cup in 2030. And ukona vision yake yangi yatuwa in motion. Why?
Let him speak.
Diva,
Let him
he
speak.
asked what would I want to see for the national team, and I said continuity yangi yatutangwa na Mario andukona ashidaidza ma players ayonga rafana vanapiwa ndonyo vana Emmanuel Jalai vana Mongameli Chuma, and I think by 2028 2029 vanenge vanyatsa kusvika, and those are toda kuona because tirambe chikwenza taenda ku AFCON kana taita se tada mboenda ku World Cup kwacho kana toda kuenda chi beyond the group stages at AFCON. So continuity iyoyi ndo yatoda kutongona.
But Tadi, unoziera kuti Zimbabwe iende ku World Cup and 2030 zvaitaura zvezvo. It starts with under 15 uko. Because don't name players acho.
Sorry guys.
Sorry,
David and Tadi, that's a conversation for another day. Let's keep it on the issue of continuity. Playing personnel is something else. But let's look at the coaching personnel. Right. As Zimbabwe, do you see us having that luxury? Okay, this one is come. Like Super Mario was here, went to AFCON, we didn't do well. Now we've got Kaitano Tembo. Let's suppose he gets the job, we qualify for AFCON, he goes to AFCON, he doesn't do well, we fire him again. Or we hear, I've resigned. Do we have that in our DNA that we want to see a coach, maybe let's give him a long rope so that he ties himself with that long rope, like what Super Mario was trying to do. 2030, we want to go to the World Cup. And we start with that vision now encompassing what he's talking about. We do it intentionally. We start from the grassroots, but we know a man who's got a philosophy. Is there any relationship between our technical director and whoever is coaching the team? Is there any symbiosis from what you have seen?
I think in the past there hasn't been that personal relationship at all, because I want to take you back to time ya Jethro Onitarira. When we had Michael Nis coming into office, there was a lot of talk around the recruitment yakaitika pana Michael Nis and how the office of the technical director eventually got bypassed. Akazongoona coach vauya. So I think those are some of the issues that the current executive need to revisit history itzozo, and they start correcting those mistakes. You wouldn't want kuti tiite my executive manyuan achiramba achiwhere the new administrators coming, falling into the same trap yakatoitika nema predecessors avo. So I think it's quite good for them to revisit the history and start correcting those mistakes. Now we have got a technical director. Now our juniors vakutambo ma tournaments. Recently we have the CAF African schools. Ngatichitangira ipapo, let's build for the future. Let's have my structures are comprehensive ekuti we can track my player development. Kutoziya kuti uitakamona kuma under 15, enezva kuma under 17, now under 21, now I'm senior team. Let's have that relationship. All right, tukuti coach aenda, but let the new coach come in, and then let's build a relationship naye na technical director. Because if we don't have that, I'm telling you, we're going to keep going in circles.
So I'm going to come back to you, Tad. Super Mario, after the Africa Cup of Nations tournament, he said, now I've got a core of youngsters that I think Zimbabwe can build on. Right. This was him speaking. And now here we are. We've got an interim coach as well who's coming in there. Yes, he was part of the structures then. But how important is continuity from this stage going forward? Because I'm trying to imagine there isn't much time from the time that AFCON ended and now. Yes, we just had that 4-team tournament in Botswana, but starting from here, how important is continuity?
Yeah, it's quite important because September asikuri ndo parutanga ma qualifiers AFCON ya 2027. So I think we need that. Kaitano should just take a leaf from what Super Mario was doing. Toramba tichienda kumberi. Because akada kutanga futi kuita chopping and changing, tunodzoka futi pa zero. Apa tasisiri pa zero.
But you understand, everyone wants to be their own man. It's not guaranteed that because Caetano was part of that coaching structure, maybe there are certain things that he did not, go together with the coach. And now he's been given the reins. Maybe he's going to do a 360 and do his own thing.
Of course, Howard.
Because we anogona ine philosophy yake isisiri futhi fast and very fast anogona ngakuda kuslowa down tempo iye Caetano tempo iye Caetano
zvatogara ndo
Caetano tempo aita about defense
word play. Anogada kuslowa tempo iye Caetano tempo.
Do you know why he question your root about my philosophy? Because every coach wese pa unoenda ku course munhu wese unotobvunzwa wotonzinyora pasi your philosophy andikuzvikisa saka there's no way inini chikocha newe Howard wototi saka philosophy yashandiswa na Diva ndo yanjira mashandisa kana nda head coach iwe une yako iwewe yauno prefer. That's why inini newe tiri team and iwewe nini tikagara pasi ndikati Howard, this is what we are going to be doing. Iwe what but mdaradaita dai and it ndo kuunza two different philosophies together. Saka yemunhu one, it doesn't work. Because like now, takutochinja philosophy. Isu as a nation, philosophy yedu ndeipi ndo pane nyaya. Unaona? Yekuti tiziye kuti Caetano akushandisa philosophy ipi because he is on interim basis. So which means TD is supposed to come up with a philosophy yatinofana kunge tichishandisa isusu. It's not about Caetano now. It's about Zimbabwe philosophy. Yekuti Caetano ari kuuya ndo yaari kushandisa. Hakuna coach anofana kuuya Howard achisichinja philosophy just because zvake iye anofana kutoedhera muphilosophy iyoyo. One. Saka which means every coach wese anouya anongosvika achikobvanyangura tichitangidza tichiita sei. No, we shouldn't be doing that.
So that's another one for our producers. Let's bring in the TD and hear the Zimbabwe philosophy. Ever since he got into the position, what has he done in terms of philosophy? Because in Zimbabwe, we want to be known for this type of football. Because you talk about tiki-taka, you talk about the Brazilian samba and all that. We want to talk about Zimbabwe. You said what? Slow tempo.
I remember in 2024, I attended this symposium yakaitwa yema coaches and the coach educator Dr. Spindi. Vachitivo toda kugadzira a philosophy that's synonymous with Zimbabwe. Kutotangira kuma juniors and they had my coaches ema juniors, they had my teachers aya no coach kuma schools aya. But I don't even know after that symposium then what happened next.
We took it and put it in a shelf.
Kana ukona zvinozoitika wadi ndezvekuti whenever these courses are being done, they're only done for the elite.
It doesn't cascade down.
It doesn't cascade down. Because FIFA ine grassroots. Ningrina ayo inoitiza. CAF doesn't have. Saka CAF inobatanidzira kwese kwamuna mchita kuti urikuita CAF D, CAF C, CAF B, CAF A. Inongoisa zvese izvozvo ichi ka1. But which is different from FIFA. FIFA manje inotoita specifically and for my juniors inotori now. Then specifically for elite. That's why uchiona kuti ukanzi une UEFA B wewe. You are not allowed to even coach Division 1 or even Division 2.
Yeah, so we hope because now ZIFA have put together, they've got a grassroots program and they've got a sponsor for that. We are believing and hoping that this is the beginning of things that are going to see Zimbabwe. Maybe 2030 might be too soon, but in the not so distant future, Zimbabwe qualifying for the World Cup for the first time. Who knows? But maybe it starts from this grassroots program that ZIFA has started. And we certainly hope we are going in the right direction. This leads me to thank David, Vero, and Tadi. I know you guys still wanted to talk more about this, but I know the producers are going to bring us the people that we requested, the TD, the ZIFA president, and explain some of these things so that we are in the loop of what's going on. Many thanks for joining us. If you want to be part of this discussion, let's go online. Let's talk about this at ZTN Prime, #TheCouch. Let's continue the conversation. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Howard Msonza. Enjoy the rest of your viewing right here on ZTN Prime.